Did you enjoy meeting me?
I hope you were as much fun on that dais as you were on your couch.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, I think we found our Saturday Night Live soundbite.
This week, people had the privilege of sitting down with Senator Al Franken of the great state of Minnesota.
Mr. President, the American people care about whether a hostile foreign government influenced our election.
We talked to Senator Franken about his career as a comedian on Saturday Night Live.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Hello, I'm Stuart Smalley.
And how he transitioned from political satire to politics itself.
Folks, you and I know that the radical right wing of the Republican Party has taken over not just the White House, the Congress, and increasingly the courts, but even and perhaps most insidiously, the airways.
His new memoir and the role that his family has played on his career choices.
I figured out when I was like 40 that, I know why I went into comedy. It was because my best time in my life when I was a kid was watching comedy with my dad. There have been biography stuff in a lot of my books, but this is a memoir. This is my first memoir. I get asked by people, how'd you make the transition from comedy to politics? And I thought I'd explain all that.
The comedian sees himself in a desperate life and death struggle. For example, if a comedian does well in front of an audience, he might say, I killed, or I killed out there. On the other hand, a comedian who does poorly might say, I died.
Al was already writing sketch comedy in high school, but after graduating high school, he actually went to Harvard and got his degree in behavioral science.
It didn't take me long to figure out that I wasn't really fit to be a scientist.
College proved instrumental to Al in a number of ways. In addition to further developing his love of comedy, he also met the love of his life.
I met Franny freshman year. I just saw her across the room, thought she was beautiful. Right after we met, we started to get to know each other. I just started to tell her about doing comedy.
Franken had been performing and writing comedy for years with his high school friend Tom Davis, and eventually the two of them were offered writing positions on the very first season of Saturday Night Live.
It's time for the Franken and Davis Show, starring Al Franken and Tom Davis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I just remember just falling on the floor laughing at new stuff people were inventing, because Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, you're doing read-through, you're writing, you're creating. A lot of the funniest stuff was as stupid as could be. And it's interesting because I wrote a lot of the political satire, but some of my favorite stuff was just really, really dumb stuff, dumb comedy.
If anyone in New York City has found my wallet, please send it to me. Send it to Al Franken, care of NBC, 30 Rock, New York, New York, 10112. Thank you.
SNL was a lot of fun, but I quote Woody Allen in this thing, who said that writing comedy is either easy or it's impossible. And when it's working, there's nothing more fun. When it's not, and it's Tuesday night at SNL, and you have read-through on Wednesday, and you can't think of anything, it's torture, and I still have nightmares. It's Tuesday night and I can't think of a thing.
Saturday Night Live made Al Franken famous not only for his comic performance, but for his writing. And in 1995, he left the show. After writing several best-selling books, Al Franken launched the flagship show for the liberal talk radio network Air America. Riffing on Bill O'Reilly, he originally called the show The O'Franken Factor, and then it was later called The Al Franken Show.
You're listening to The O'Franken Factor. I'm Al O'Franken.
I'm Catherine.
And welcome to the Zero Spin Zone. The radio show was a transition. Had people like Elizabeth Warren on, and that talk about the middle class squeeze. I had healthcare people. I had people about what was going on in Iraq who'd written great books about that.
Al Franken's show on Air America was really a place for him to show that he could do his homework and develop some real policy chops. It was there that he started the transition from satirist to politician and later declared his candidacy for Senate.
I'm going to run for the United States Senate. You know, there are going to be times where we're on the same side of something, then I will want to work with him. I had hoped when he had said, I'm going to protect Medicaid and Medicare, that he meant it. I'm not a professional politician. I know I'm going to make some mistakes, and this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done.
Senator Franken explains that after he decided to run for office, some of his opponents would try to use his comedic background against him.
When I ran in 2008, my opponent and the Republicans got this $15 million machine called the dehumorizer and put everything I had ever said or written through it.
Senator Franken explained how in that first race, his Republican opponents really took every joke he'd ever told and tried to turn them against him by making them sound serious and not satirical.
One of the biggest parts of the transition I had to make from having been a comedian, a comedy writer, an author, a radio host, to running for office was seeing that 40 years of work put through this dehumorizer, and I found out very early is that you can't litigate comedy. What was the one case in Perry Mason?
I just was always struck that there was only one case where his client was actually guilty. And
you don't remember that case?
I know that I should remember the name of it.
When I first got to the Senate, I had won by 312 votes, and there had been an independent in the race who got 15% of the votes. I won with a little over 42% of the vote. And the campaign had been so vicious, and I had been portrayed as a foul-mouthed.
How shameless these people are. These people are so shameless.
I just wanted the people of Minnesota to see that I was serious about the job. We had our own dehumorizer, which was I decided not to be publicly funny. We could laugh in the office. I could laugh with my colleagues, but and even the slightest thing got reported. So at one point, a reporter came up to my press secretary and said, "Why isn't Senator Franken funny anymore?" And she said, "Because of you guys." I mean, because anything I let out was reported on, and is he being funny now?
You know, for years since he was elected to the Senate, he's been self-censoring and trying not to be funny. So I had to ask Senator Franken, you know, why now? Is he more comfortable being the funny man that he is?
I got reelected, and I think that people got to see gradually and then pretty soon that I really was serious. I remember very early on, I got this a lot. I remember doing it was the height of the Great Recession, doing an economic development meeting in Bemidji, Minnesota. Next day I was flying out, and a businessman who'd been in that meeting says to me, as we're getting on the plane, he says, you were better than I thought. And I said, thanks for having such low expectations.
Since being elected, Senator Franken has pushed for expanding health care, improving education, and helping to increase the use of clean energy.
Climate change is an existential threat to our planet and to future generations.
In the last several months, Senator Franken has really made a name for himself at the vanguard of what's called the resistance, opposing some of President Trump's more radical, in his opinion, proposals, and Senator Franken questioning Trump's cabinet nominees in confirmation hearings produced all sorts of viral videos that really made him a national leader.
General Flynn received $37,000 for sitting next to Putin at the 10th anniversary of Russia Today.
Despite all the sharp rhetoric, Senator Franken says he still has hope that he can find some middle ground to work with President Trump.
You know, there are going to be times where we're on the same side of something, and I will want to work with him. I had hoped when he had said, I'm going to protect Medicaid and Medicare, that he meant it, and that I would try to work with him on some healthcare plan.
As a member of the Health and Education Committee in the Senate, he's really prioritized those sort of social and welfare policies that he sees as ways to help make the lives better of the people he represents, the people of the nation.
I am not the only senator with constituents whose lives are on the line here. I've seen people cry about whether their mom is going to lose her home care. We have to fight this thing. We have to follow through on wherever this Trump investigation takes us. I got way too much to do right now. President Trump's decision to abruptly fire the man leading an investigation that could implicate the Trump administration. And the first thing I really get asked by people is, being a senator as much fun as working on Saturday Night Live? And of course the answer is no, why would it be? But it's the best job I've ever had.